I'm gonna think. I'm gonna take that out of your head. Here we go.
Hey,
Hi, Nick. Welcome. I'm in the house like furniture, down like gravity. Love that. Welcome, Tanja. Good morning.
good morning.
Where's everybody at? Come on in. Welcome, Nikki. Rainy day heaven. Spending time with my favorite purple peeps. There's no else I'd rather be on a rainy day than listening to Prince and Eric Leeds and Sheila E. and Levi and Alana Bliss on Times Square. Greetings, Purple Fam D. Thank you for all my messages this morning. I haven't responded. Please don't hate me. Good morning, Mila. Did you hear that horn for you, Mila? That was like, when you came on. Good morning, man. Ray 10. All right, Kim. ATL is in the house. Happy Saturday, Drea Dances. Always love having you here. Hey, Deborah. Hi, Diana. Hi, Raywin. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
What's up, Raywin?
Good morning, Brandy T. Morning, JD Washington.
JD.
Thank you for joining us again and dropping all the tech knowledge. We really appreciate it. Gilman, I love your name. Good morning. Oh, thank you so much, D. Yes, Cairo, everything you think is true. So important.
What version is this? This is like their Madhouse.
So, give me 1 second. We're going to talk about it. I got my Michael Deans last week. I'm assuming you're talking about Tony M.
Or you got or maybe they got their headphones. Ooh.
Maybe, Baron, yeah, let us know what you're talking about. Happy Purple Saturday, fam. Good morning, Lisa. All right. So, this is only on the CD, not on the album. I was like, where's this song? I'm looking for it on the album this morning. I was like, the song is not on the album. I know it's supposed to be on the album, but it was a bonus only track on the CD.
Okay. I had the cassette. That's why I was like, wow.
Yes, it was a bonus track just for the CD called Overnight Every Night. We're going to talk a little bit more about that.
This evolves into one of his later.
Yeah. I love this part. I love Levi on bass, even though technically, I mean, that was one thing that was interesting when you interviewed him, how he's really into the guitar, Levi, but like for me, he's like a fantastic bass player.
Yeah. Arlene, oh, we had a good time last night.
That's right. Levi ain't no joke. Budding and anarchist. Love that name. All right. So let's get to it. We're going to get into our housekeeping with the quickness. I apologize. We have to do this every week, but we might have new people joining us. So what did Prince do this week? Is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the estate of Prince Rogers Nelson. We are reading the expanded edition. So when we start reading, this is what we're going to be reading, except we're actually going to read something from a John Breen book today as well. called Inside the Rain, just a little snippet. And we're going week to week, not day to day. That don't make any sense unless you're reading. And then you can follow our detailed schedule, breaking down what pages we're reading every week at bit.ly/Prince Book Club, or you can go to bookclub.polishsilent.com. And again, we talked about that. And make sure you subscribe, like, help spread the word about reading the book and joining us on our weekly Saturday at noon in New York City time, but obviously other times because Michael is in Seattle on the West Coast where
Lord.
it's mad early.
Up early in the morning,
Yeah.
trying to find some more reading time. Really gotta get up. Okay.
You know what, Michael? I think I just heard it. You gotta make us a theme song for reading time.
Hilarious, hilarious.
That would be incredible, having our own reading time song. All right, and then our hashtag is WDPDTW, and there is an email if you want to send us anything about the book, meaning like if you have any ticket stubs, because we're going to eventually get to the Purple Rain tour where it's going to get crazy, and anything else you'd like. Welcome, Elder Bar. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Good morning, Alex. And yes, buddy. Anarchist open book. That's right. No quizzes and tests up in here because we be making mad mistakes. All right. So basically what we just listened to again was Overnight Every Night. This is only on the CD. It's not on the cassette nor on the album, because I was like, what is going on? Because I had numbered all my songs to translate to my Madhouse, and this is my Madhouse 20, Overnight Every Night. But then I went to I was looking at my album and I was like, the song's not on here. What's going on? I had totally forgotten it. So this is the reason why we do these things, because we forget. So let's look at the breakdown of this song. So Eric Leeds is on tenor and baritone saxophones and synthesizers. Atlanta Bliss is on trumpets. Prince is on the piano and the organ. Levi Cesar Jr. Leviticus is on bass. And then we got Sheila E. on the drums. It's mixed by Eric Leeds. It was composed by Prince, Eric Leeds, Levi Cesar Jr., and Sheila E. So again, whenever Prince touches something, I personally think that it needs to be remastered, archived properly. So as far as I'm concerned, this is obviously Eric Leeds has a massive hand in shaping this because he selected the songs. I'm assuming he sequenced it, but I could be wrong. It would be a really actually interesting conversation to have with Eric Leeds. Maybe I'll try to get him on here and we can actually talk about it. That's one of the things that I wanted to do during 1 + 1 + 1 is 3, but we're celebrating 3 albums. I couldn't do 4, like Billy Sparks said. Yes. So
I mean, one of y'all's got to go.
Yes.
What's doing here with the entrance position?
And it was painful because this is such a great album. Okay, so we're going to get into it this week, and we're going to flip things going forward. We're going to jump into the book club, and then we're going to do our stuff at the end.
You have to go to that song, and then what does that song become later, though?
What does it become later?
Y'all in the chat. It was on was it Xenophobia? What's that album?
Yeah, and so these
it turns it into a whole other thing.
Yeah, on Xenophobia it says, but on Princefall it says the lead line of Xenophobia is very similar to that of Overnight Every Night, but should not be considered a direct reference. Now, I don't know why they said that.
That's what they say. I say different. How about that? Michael Dean said different.
Okay.
I say it's the same difference.
All right. So the lead line of Xenophobia.
Yeah. That's how when I remember when that came, I was like, I don't know, I kind of heard this. And you had to go back into the archives, and I was like, oh, once again, He's pulling, flipping his own stuff and reusing it. So anyway, it's just a grooves up on the shelf footnote. How about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and Prince did that a lot, in terms of just he was a master at that actually. How he can take a snippet of one song and weave it into another song. It's pretty incredible. All right, so week 20.
All right.
2 studio visits this week, 2 songs tracked. Possessed.
Mm.
Let's Go Crazy, which isn't the Let's Go Crazy we know. It's still and we'll talk about it. But this is where I struggle. Like, I know this is not the version that ended up on the album, but it's still a thread. So like, I don't know. I guess we can talk about it. I guess if somebody has a better way to go about it, let me know. But then I couldn't remove the cover. I removed the cover and it just said, Let's Go Crazy. I was like, how can you not? The cover? That's not going to work. So I put the cover back in. And then we're also going to talk about the 3rd annual Minnesota Music Awards and a First Avenue really guest appearance. It wasn't really a proper performance. All right. So Possessed was recorded at Kiowa Trail home studio. So many fantastic songs at Kiowa Trail. That was like a magical universe.
Just as you're saying this, it's just a thought that jumped in my head. It'd be kind of cool if they could do this at Paisley Park, is if they actually recreated that room, like experience in one of the spaces they have there at Paisley Park, so you could feel like this was his home studio. You kind of get a feel of what it felt like. Maybe they could play the songs that were kind of originated from that area, just so you could this little space or whatever it was. That'd be kind of tight, because you're right. There's so many songs that are coming out of that environment. It's such a creation place.
Yes.
It would be interesting to see, what did it feel, kind of get a feel for what that felt like to walk in or something like that.
I think that would have been really fantastic because so Basquiat, his family did an exhibition in New York, and they recreated his studio, and it was pretty massive. But in addition to that, they recreated his childhood living room, and they recreated a club. And I please all the Basquiat and New York heads out there, please don't hate me that I don't remember this club because it's super famous. But Basquiat had a mural in this club, and the space was huge in order to accommodate this mural. So yeah, that's a really great suggestion, Edgar, or even build it in a new venue next to Paisley Park. That would be really, really, really cool. Laura, this is also very cool. Met him in front of the house in 1984. You have to tell us what did he say? What did you say?
Remember there's a story of somebody was beating at his gate or something? What book was that? And he was like, had to go out there and like, calm down. I don't want to get in there. That wasn't you, was it?
No. I told you my story about Minneapolis. Like, I refused to go while Prince was alive because I knew if I went, I wouldn't come back. I would just stay. And I was like, I'm not going. It was my kryptonite. So like, I have friends who went to the celebrations, like when Prince did them. And I was like, I'm not going because I'm not
going to leave. Well, at least you knew, know your boundary.
Yeah, I was like, Prince has already consumed so much of my life. And I really thought about going to the, I think it was the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. And I was like, this is such a bad idea. Like, I don't think so. So I had enough self-possession that I kind of knew I need to separate church and state.
Right. Well, you could probably do a whole show of people, of fans who have either moved or really considered moving to that area just because, obviously Prince and stuff. It's just an interesting thing.
Yeah, it really is. And I salute every single person who did that. I just couldn't do it because I knew it was going to be like over. All right. So thank you, Kim. I knew someone was going to come through. It was the Palladium. So it was Basquiat's VIP area, and they recreated the club. And I don't know if it's going to travel to another city. I hope it does. But if it does, and if you love art and if you love Basquiat, You should definitely go see that. They did a fantastic job. And as soon as I saw his studio, I said the same thing, Michael. I was like, I wish they would do this for Prince,
Mhm. Mhm.
especially the Gower Trail or the warehouse space. I mean, and there's enough space
Yeah.
on Paisley Park. Oh, it is in LA now. That's so cool. Very, very cool. Thank you, Kim. Somebody's up on what's going on in the culture. Appreciate that. All right. So let's get into it. So we're going to start our reading real soon. Like, so we're going to take out our books
Mm.
and I'm going to have Michael Dean read page
Oh,
84.
Lord. Early in the morning. No, what page are we on? I'm sorry.
Page 84.
84.
Yeah,
Just
84.
like the year, 84.
And it's little this time. And I'll do the next one.
All right. Sunday, March 15th, 1983. Estimate. Possessed, basic tracking. Kawa Trail Home Studio, Chanhassen, Minnesota. Producer Prince. Artist Prince. Engineer Don Batts. It says assumed. He took the best bits of Beethoven and the Beatles and James Brown. He was able to ride that edge of uniqueness, and it was so brilliant the way everything was presented to you every day. You were just kind of shocked. Everything was so effortless to him. Bobby Z. Rifkin. Possessed is a track that had been around for a while. Prince had debuted part of it on December 10th, 1982, in Chicago during the 1999 tour. He eventually played the entire track on March 21st, 1983 at Music City. I'm just tripping. Radio City Music Hall in New York City, sorry. But getting a proper version of it on tape was difficult. Even when Prince set aside studio time for it, he'd take several passes at it before he was happy. It is likely that Prince recorded all the instruments on this song. Prince's influence on this track was James Brown, and he dedicated the song to him on the Prince and Revolution Live concert tape released in 1985. Ah, boy, that VHS tape was special.
Yes, it was everything.
Status. Today's version of Possess, 8 minutes and 46 seconds, remains unreleased. Additional work would be done on the track, and it would be revisited multiple times before it was completely re recorded the following year. The 1984 version of Possessed, which is 7 minutes and 56 seconds, was released in 2017 on the Purple Rain Deluxe Expanded Edition CD set.
All right, so let's get into it. I'm obsessed with Possessed, but okay, here we go. So this is from the 1999 Super Deluxe box set. So we got our handwritten lyrics, which we love. I'm going to read really quickly the liner notes that Dwayne did, which says Prince recorded Possessed by himself at Star Studio, Starr, Jamie Starr, a nickname he gave to his home studio, laying down 2 guitar tracks, bass, finger snaps, multiple synths, and a Lynn LM1 drum pattern to the 16-track tape. This version was mixed on May 24th, 1982, but the song would be revisited and completely re-recorded 2 years later. So I wanted to talk and actually ask you first, and then everybody that's out there in the audience, what is your favorite version of Possess? Now, obviously, the first time that I heard Possess was in real time during the film Purple Rain, when they're at First Avenue, and I was like, where is this song? It's not on the soundtrack. I was obsessed with Possessed because it wasn't on the soundtrack. And I thought it was different, meaning like different from what Prince normally did. It was a little bit more rhythmic, percussive, a little electronic, and I thought it was pretty brilliant. So I really love the audio. I can also, though, understand why maybe it didn't make it because it didn't really fit the soundtrack. Like, I don't know where it would go. So I'm curious. And then, obviously we got a version on the 1999 Deluxe. And then we got basically the version in Purple Rain, but with the vocals on the 2017 Purple Rain Deluxe. So out of
Mm.
the three, which one do you personally like the best in terms of the studio recordings?
Oh, probably the earlier version. Uh,
On
actually, I
the
guess if
nine?
no, I would say of those 3, I would probably pick what you heard in the movie, like,
Mm-hmm.
without the vocals, 'cause kinda like you, that music, it just had a lure to it that I was just like it makes me think of the visuals from the movie, and it just fit the whole aesthetic to me, like, it was like, "Whoa, this is some Prince type music that I don't know what this is," and it's not even singing, but it's just this is his style. So to me, when I hear that, it always makes me think of the movie and what was going on. So that but my version, like, hopefully like you, is the live version, you know, from the concert. That's how I first heard it when I knew what I was listening to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the highlights of that concert for me, and I took that, I put that on a cassette back in the day, I would just be jamming that, that to me, that is the only version in my mind.
Yeah. So in terms of, and we're going to talk about the live version because I think the live version obliterates any studio recorded version.
Yeah.
And that would happen sometimes with Prince songs where the studio version compared to the live version felt like night and day. And
Mm,
the definitive version would be the live version for me, only because like I live in Prince live. I mean, I actually rarely listen to Prince albums. I listen to the rehearsals, the concerts, like that's what I listen to like on a day-to-day basis. So I'm like you, I actually prefer the instrumental. And one of the things that I was hoping is that we would get the instrumental on the Purple Rain Deluxe. And we got something, most people would say it was cooler, which is, the instrumental with the vocals on top. But I just wanted both. I want both.
mhm,
I want the instrumental and I want the vocals. It's really interesting hearing him sing the version on Purple Rain Deluxe because how his voice was so malleable, and sometimes he can go from a high to a low, and he was doing all these kind of like what I call it like musical theater Prince, like when he would really get into like
uh,
just his diction on certain words. It went kind of goth in certain parts, just like a hint of goth here and
mm,
there. It was a really interesting vocal performance. If you listen to the one on Purple Rain Deluxe, I love hearing the vocals. It's just that I think it goes back to something you said last week too, because we heard the instrumental one first, and we watched Purple. At least I watched Purple Rain over and over and over again. It was
mhm.
just like seared into my mental, my oral ear holes. That's what it is. So.
It's, I would add, it's the same way, for a song like Weekend Funk or, the other title for it. That sort of live version with the band of Weekend Funk is in my mind, even though I had heard the studio it's just that he took it to another level. So there are times when he has the live versions of these songs, in my mind, they just dwarf, that's the word. They overcome or surpass what they did in the studio. I think the other song I would put in that same boat would be Shh, that version that he did at Paisley Park.
Mhm.
It's just like, yeah, there's those live versions where he just it's just like he just opens up to the heavens or something, and then just like, okay, God just let me touch this brother, let him put it, and then he just takes it. So possessed, that live version is I mean hard for me to even compare the other ones to that. Like
Yeah.
again, it's live and the energy and all that. And he's on fire. And
All right. So I already put this up, but I don't put it back up again because yes, we want all the versions. That's what we want. Want all the versions. And let's see what Stephanie says. The early version from 1982. I've had it years before the 1990 Super Deluxe. The version on the PR Deluxe is cool too. The live version was my main pick. But you said studio. That's right. I said studio. So now we're going to talk about the live version. And we talked about this last week when Big Sexy was here. So I'm hoping that some of you actually took the time to go back and listen to your VHS copy versus the, Prince and the Revolution remastered release from last year. Did anybody do that? And if so,
Are you bringing up old shit?
because it's important. Because I want to know, like, am I the only one who prefers like the 1985 audio versus the 2022 audio? So let me know. I know there's some latency with these comments, so please tell me that somebody went back and was like, what's she talking about? Let me listen. Did you go listen? Because that's what we're doing. We reading and we listening. We doing close listenings and we reading.
I love it. We read.
Yeah, we read.
We read.
Yes. So I really wish I could play these versions, but the YouTube stream would stop and I just don't want to go through it. So that's where you have to do it in your own homes, but you need to compare and contrast these two versions. I'm sticking with the original audio from the VHS. I understand Kim. Kim says didn't have a VHS copy, ain't had no money for that. I totally understand. And then let's see, Stone Freak saying I like the version linked with the superior version of Fill You Up. Nice. Yes, I forgot about that linkage. And let's see, I had a Betamax and a VHS version
Betamax.
of Revolution Live. So Celie, I don't know if did you notice a difference back then between, I'm assuming that the Betamax look better than the VHS. Did it sound better? Do you remember any of this detail or is it too long ago? And so Man Ray was like, have a lot of love for you, D'Angela, but no, the 2022 remaster is clearly superior. I think that's where Michael Dean is. Is that where you are?
Hey. Well, I won't say it's superior, but it just brings out, like I said, you can hear different things and it's bump, if you like bass playing and it's all in your head, in your face.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it really does, Stone Freak. You're absolutely right. The new version really spotlights Brown Mark's bass, and it gets lost in the mix with the old audio. And I love Brown Mark, and I want Brown Mark to get his bass shine because Brown Mark is a beast on bass. I mean, he is incredible. But it's just something about that audio, particularly for Possessed and Irresistible, that I just love the audio version from 1985. So, okay, LW is with me. 1985 version, that's old school plus plus. But I don't know. There's a laughing emoji, so I don't know if you're with me or against.
You're laughing with me or at me?
Yes. I don't know. That's so funny. Heavenly Kane says, I did not do the homework. I have to go to purple detention.
Uh-oh.
Yes. You got to do this homowork. You got to do this homework.
I'll get that purple paddle for you.
Yeah. So Stephen is saying Brown Mark's second book should be coming out. That would be great. I'd love to read it. Because I thought that the first book was too short. That's just my personal opinion. And then Drea Dancer says my VHS got ruined, but I do really enjoy the new version. All right. It seems like the new version is definitely where most of us are landing.
Well, and just to be, I think the audio from the VHS version that's the same audio that's on the release that was with the was it the Purple Rain Deluxe or something?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it was also included in the Purple Rain Deluxe, so it's still that version. Yes, Audra. Yes, Audra and we went to the same high school, so Audra has my back. Thank you.
I don't count.
All right. So yes, you got to do your close listening of Possessed. So for those of you, you need to do your compare and contrast for 1985 versus 2022. Hi, David. Thank you so much for being here. We were just talking about like which version of Possessed Live do we like, the VHS original audio mix or the remastered 2022 release. I personally love the original audio mix. Michael Dean loves the new, and almost everybody and their mama loves the new remaster, but I'm weird that way. And then we also talked about the different studio recordings of Possess and whether we like the instrumental version versus the instrumental with the vocals added on the 2017 Purple Rain Deluxe, or a different version released on 1999. So yes, you got some homework for listening. Okay, wait. I see JD is coming to the rescue. I thought the VHS had a bit more bass. Not sure that was intentional or just lesser sound quality. Mm-hmm. All right, and Tanja's saying have the VHS, no player. I no longer have a VHS player, but I still have my VHS. And Eldebar is saying, I found out with Purple Music too. The remastered version sounds way different, even though it's the same recording. Exactly. I agree. And then, yes, there are 2 chats because we're streaming live to YouTube as well as Facebook and Twitch for that matter, but no one ever joins from Twitch. Time check. Thank you. I need the time check because we are going to have a short show this week. We're not going the full 2 hours. We're going to try to cut it at an hour and 15 minutes at the latest. All right. Again, Nikki, have the player, no VHS. And Stephanie, I preferred the old VHS version. I've had my VHS for 36 years. Oh, thanks, Stone Freak. You'll be my first Twitch listener. I appreciate it. Purple Music is indeed insane. Okay, here we go. Breakdown of Betamax versus VHS. Because we be schooling up in here in this book club series. Betamax had better picture quality, but VHS won the battle because initially Betamax only offered an hour of recording with its blanks, whereas VHS offered 2 hours of recording. Sound was equal. Okay.
The format wars continues.
Yes.
The format wars.
Yes. All right. Okay. So now we're going to read about the 3rd annual Minnesota Music Awards, and I'll do the reading. I can't believe we're already 30 minutes in. That's so crazy. Okay. So the venue is Carlton Celebrity Room in Bloomington, Minnesota. On May 16th, I would appear on stage with Prince in our hometown for the last time. It was the Minnesota Music Awards, and I joined the band for one song. This is Des Dickerson. So we got that continuing our Des thread from last week. So this is the last time that he would appear on stage with Prince in our hometown for the last time. All right. Prince was honored with 6 awards, including Male Vocalist of the Year, Producer of the Year, Musician of the Year, Band of the Year, and Best Producer. His 1999 album won Album of the Year, and Little Red Corvette won EP/45 of the Year. That's pretty cool. They had a EP/45 award. Love that. The Time also won for Best R&B/Soul/Ethnic. I didn't even know they used the word ethnic back then. That's interesting. Prince and his band were joined by Morris Day, Jesse Johnson, and Vanity Six for a performance of DMSR, which at the time was a promo single in the United Kingdom and was likely being considered for release in North America. On a more historic note, this was the final time Prince shared the stage with 2 people who were very close to him, former lead guitarist Des Dickerson and Vanity, who would leave later in the summer. So this is a pretty important event, this 3rd annual Minnesota Music Awards, and I have some more information that I wanted to read. So this is from the Star Tribune from May 15th. This is written by John Bream. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to.
That picture of John Bream right there?
No, that is not John Bream. That's somebody else.
I'm getting Roger Ebert vibes, but
yeah. Yeah, that's Tom Bartel, and I don't know who Tom Bartel is.
Oh, Tom. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, so this is John Bream writing, and this is in the Star Tribune. Oh, you guys can see that. So it's hoped that the third annual Minnesota Music Awards will be changed from a popularity contest to a true recognition of excellence, says Tom Bartell. That's the guy, publisher of City Pages and executive producer of the awards. So that's the reason why Tom Bartell is this. Again, publisher of City Pages, which was another news paper in the Twin Cities, just like, Star Tribune, and executive producer of the awards. That's why 21 of the 29 categories this year will be determined by an academy rather than by readers of City Pages, a local weekly newspaper. For this year's prizes, which will be given Monday at the Carlton Celebrity Room, public balloting would determine only Best Album, Single/EP, New Band, Comedian of the Year, Band of the Year, and Musician of the Year. For the first two editions of the awards, all winners were chosen by public ballot. The readers also helped nominate candidates in the other categories, ranging from Best Recording Engineer to Best Jazz Instrumentalist, but those winners will be selected by a 200-person academy. About 3/4 of the academy members are previous Minnesota Music Award winners and nominees, and the other fourth are music critics, booking agents, and industry workers. With the Academy, Bartell said the awards would be recognition by peers rather than who had the best publicity machine or who played the most around town. Despite change in the voting procedures, about the same number of ballots were submitted by readers this year as last, Bartell said, just short of 1,000. Other changes in the third annual awards are the site and the ticket price. The first year we sold out First Avenue, so then we moved to the Prom Center, Bartell said. Last year we sold out the Prom, so we moved to the Carlton. There's more capacity, and last year there were some complaints about the sound and not enough tables at the Prom. Ticket prices have doubled from $6 general admission last year to $12 and $10 for reserved seats on the main floor of the Carlton. Balcony tickets cost $6.50. And Bartell defended the ticket price increase by saying more money has been spent producing this year's show, and he hopes to make a greater donation to KMOJ and KFAI, two community radio stations, than last year's gift of $1,650 to KTCA TV. Now, I'm going to read this. Okay, so scheduled performers at Monday's ceremonies include multiple award winners. I'm not going to name these names, we don't know. But the J.D. Still Singers performed at this. Patty Peterson, who is Paul Peterson's sister. And the house band features bassist Billy Peterson, which is also one of actually Paul Peterson's oldest brother, who plays bass, because it says features bassist. Keyboard is Ricky Peterson, which is another one of Paul Peterson's brother and obviously worked with Prince. So the Petersons were a staple, as we should all know, but in case you didn't, the Peterson family was huge in the Minnesota music circles. And the Minnesota Music Awards are sponsored by City Pages, Great American Music, Wax Museum Record Stores, and Budweiser. All right, so here are some photos. That is John Bream, Michael Dean, presenting one of the awards. And this photo is by Mark Peterson. A lot of them are. And I originally saw this photo in the Prince, Inside the Purple Rain book by John Bream. And I have that in the corner. For those of you who have this book, you want to go look it up. This is another shot. And then we got Big Chick.
Suited and booted.
Suited and booted. Yes.
Yes, sir.
And then this is one of my favorite pictures of Prince of all time. It's just like that Prince smirk that only Prince can do. And then again, this is in John Bream's book, this photo. And this is a fantastic photo.
I like this one.
Yeah, this one's fantastic. Love seeing Morris Day with his white shoes on. They don't look like Stacey Adams. I don't know what they are. But I love the way that Prince is looking at Morris Day.
Like, don't say too much more. Just slow down now. There was an old Prince book that this was in back in the day. Was it one of the Per Nelson original books or something? I always remember seeing this picture, and it just blew my mind because it was just like it was Iron Man and Captain America. It was like Batman, Superman on the same stage together. Like they really knew each other. Like, God damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that picture, man.
And this is another shot.
Nice.
And like Prince is like, give me back my microphone. And I love this photo because Morris is looking at Prince, with a smile. It's just, you can see their camaraderie. And
Brothers.
and then Jesse.
Yes.
Gotta love Jesse. And I don't know if this is before or after, but this is a great shot with Bobby Z and Big Chick.
Oh,
And
real quick. Yeah, there you go. The picture of Prince and Morris was in the 1990 Per Nielsen. Is it Nielsen?
Nielsen, mm-hmm.
Documentary book. Yeah, that was one of the classic books back in the day.
And then I love this shot. It's one of my favorite shots of Vanity 6 and Prince in the front. And then Prince looking at Vanity.
Vanity got that look like, you want this? Like, wait till after the show. Anyway, sorry.
And I don't know if this is from, I would love if someone can let me know if this is actually from the Music Awards ceremony or if this is later from First Avenue when he shows up for a guest spot, which we're going to read about in a hot second. And then this is just great to find so you can see the color.
It was yellow?
Yes. It was, yeah, it was gold. It looks great.
I wish we could see this stuff in color, man. It was so swagged out, man.
Yeah, he was so swagged. And what's crazy is that someone on YouTube has the 1986 Minnesota Music Awards, and someone has posted 82, which Prince was at, but nothing from 83. There's a clip online that says it's 83, but it's actually 82. So I can't find a 1983 clip. And there's obviously a 1984, the one that came that was released earlier or last year.
Oh, yeah.
That's from 84, but
Now,
I can't
to
find
be clear, there's two different organizations, right?
Oh yeah, there's also it's two different
Black.
ones. There was Black, and then there's yeah, you're absolutely right. And welcome, April. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, but again, I don't know if this is like from the award show or from First Avenue. I don't know. Yes.
Yeah, that's a head buster to me. I'm like, what?
Yep.
He was awesome. Yeah, he was like, what?
Yeah.
All yellow on you fools. Man, that's why I love Prince, man. He was just, he was tight, man.
Yeah, he had swag. He just like swagged out, like you said. All right, so I'm gonna read it's just like 3 short paragraphs, so bear with me from this John Breen book, and this is about the Minnesota Music Awards, but actually a little bit about what we've been talking about earlier. So, okay, just 3 paragraphs. He looked more, meaning Prince, in control when dancing with Stevie Nicks at a post-concert play in a Bloomington, Minnesota hotel after his 1982 concert at Met Center. It was an exhausting show near the end of the tour, and Prince had to be carried back on stage by Chick for the encore. Yet only 5,000 people had turned out in this town. I want to read this one more time really slowly so you hear me. And this is one of the reasons why I'm reading this paragraph. Yeah, only 5,000 people had turned out in this town where no major commercial radio station would play his records. It all turned around the following year as Prince rode his little red Corvette to triumph back home. Met Center was sold out, and Prince played before the largest white audience of his career. On stage in Minneapolis, he smiles more than at any other place. And concert goers see as wide a range of expressions from him as viewers of Purple Rain did. He has expressed his appreciation of the local fans in acceptance speeches at the Minnesota Music Awards and Twin Cities Black Music Awards. Actually, his first comment at the Minnesota Music Awards found him in his rude boy mood. After he was given the award for Musician of the Year in 1982 at the Prom Center in St. Paul, he asked, "When are you going to give the one award for the best ass?" Sounds like Prince. The next year, he was honored with 6 awards. This is what we were just talking about, but was backstage at the Carlton Celebrity Room watching the Motown 25th anniversary special on TV. Now, I wanna wait I'm gonna read a little bit of if I have time, a news article, and they were giving him grief for watching the Motown 25 special, but that's when there were no, like, there wasn't any cable, there wasn't any YouTube, there wasn't
Right.
any replays. This was like a major television event.
Yeah.
It was just
Everyone
like,
everyone watched that. What else was you gonna watch? And it was Motown. They were legends. They were living legends.
yeah, yeah, so, if I was Prince, I would've been watching it too. Like, so yes. All right, and then yeah, backstage at the Carlton Celebrity Room, watching the Motown 25th anniversary special on TV, and sent manager Fargnoli to collect the bounty and announce that Prince is on his way. Sure enough, the local hero paraded down the center aisle in a banana-colored satin suit, what we just saw, which chick. He introduced his bodyguard to the assembled and handed him the awards. He thanked Minnesota for its support and capped the night with a 10-minute jam on borrowed equipment with members of his band, The Time and Vanity Six. And again, this is from Prince Inside the Rain by John Bream. And it was, I forgot to put the date on it, 1984 was when the book was released.
And this is before the superstardom. Like, this was just Prince. Like, I know I'm this shit. I'm gonna come walk, like you say. Everyone can see me. You know what I'm saying? I'm shining. My bodyguard got the muscle. He was already on one. I love that. Like, he was so confident about his stuff, man. That's
Yeah,
before he had a seat at the table. He was already. He
he
was
was
already.
already.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm coming down. Whoop whoop, my man.
Yeah,
And I'm about to go back and watch the MJ get down. So I can
yeah.
stop.
So I know, I mean, some people have been giving me grief about talking about other people, but I'm sorry. I'm a music head and that's what I do. So one of the things,
Well,
well, I'm sorry. I love music. So I was actually listening to a Questlove Supreme episode with Dallas Austin,
mm,
and Dallas tells this really incredible story about Crisscross and meeting them for the first time in an Atlanta mall. And he was saying how, like, as little kids, they had so much, they had so
mm,
much swag, and
yeah,
like before they were even well known, like they just had it, like some people are just born that way. It's just,
hey, that's a part of the culture. Like, we already know we fly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need. You just don't know it, but wow, yeah, that's how we do a lot of stuff. We always come suited and booted, dressed. Or were you just going to the grocery store? Yeah, but I still got the brand new da 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 da's on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still stunting on them. So it's the same type of thing. So yeah,
yeah, that's
here's my
right.
kid,
It
Jermaine
was
Dupri.
Jermaine Dupri, and the reason being is I listened to Dallas Austin, and then I listened to Jermaine Dupri's like back to back. So that's the reason,
Mm.
because Chris Love was doing a Atlanta series, so to speak, with the Atlanta producers. Yeah, you're right, Jermaine Dupri. But it was a great story. All right, so I want to read, unfortunately, some more, and I'm reading more than usual, but I think it's important to hear this information in real time. This is from John Bream again, in the Star Tribune. Public Industry bestows 6 music awards on Prince. Prince, the only rock star who was born and raised and still lives in Minneapolis. That's also important, you know.
Mm.
Dominated the 3rd annual Minnesota Music Awards Monday night at the Carlton Celebrity Room. He won 6 awards. We already know the awards. The only other multiple winners were Jasmine, Eddie Berger, and Billy Peterson. So Billy Peterson, again, is Paul Peterson's oldest brother. I don't know who Eddie Berger is, so I'm hoping someone will school us. We need to do a deep dive into who is Eddie Berger. They shared honors for number one jazz instrumentalist, and Berger won top win brass instrumentalist. Peterson captured best bassist. One of his sisters and brothers also took home prizes. Patty Peterson was named premier female vocalist, and Ricky Peterson was voted best keyboardist. And I'm not going to read that because we already know about this. Okay. Prince was clearly a hit with both the public and the industry. About 1,100 readers of City Pages named him Musician of the Year and called his band Best in Town. And they also chose his 1999 as top album and his Little Red Corvette as best single. The Academy called Prince the preeminent record producer and number one male vocalist. Prince was tardy in arriving and quickly became the butt of jokes because he was not there to pick up his first couple of awards. Master of Ceremonies Alex Cole conjectured that Prince was home watching the Motown Story on television, but it wasn't the Motown Story. It was the 25th. That TV, like, just do your Googles and read about how massive that particular that event was. Yeah, life changing, like memorable.
I'm gonna let you read. I'm gonna ask you a question.
And then WLOL disc jockey Bob Berglund was disappointed that Prince wasn't around because Berglund had his tuba in his car and had hoped for an audition for Prince's band. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Prince did show up midway into the 3-hour ceremony, attended by 2,000 people, many of whom were dressed to the nines. Prince opted for a gold satin suit that seemed to be attached to a behemoth bodyguard with a gray beard. Upon accepting an award, Prince introduced the bodyguard chick and handed him the trophy and said, "Thank you, Minneapolis, for your support. We love you all." And I won't read that. So it says he defended the domination by Prince. Tom Bartel, going back to Tom. Tom defended the domination by Prince, who was named Rock Artist of the Year by Rolling Stone magazine, saying it's his year. He's not only popular, but recognized as tops by other musicians. There have been complaints about his inclusion by people without major label recording contracts. Maybe next year we'll separate national and local acts.
See, that's what I was going to ask about. I wonder if there was pushback by them giving Prince these awards. And with respect to the people that won the other ones, I was trying to figure out how did they pick these awards, because this ain't Prince's first album that they're talking about. He'd been in the game for a minute. Was he getting awards back then? You know what I'm saying? And how are these guys that they sound like they're local cats, but there's a cat that got a 3 national records banging side group, and now he just now getting awards, and then you just said the guy had to defend it. Like, defend it about what? What was they defending about? That's why I'm curious, and it makes me wonder, why did they have to have a Black Minnesota Music Awards opposed to this one? I wonder. It's just kind of curious things. If there was somebody that was there at that time, could really kind of talk about that, because it sounds like I can see how they probably. I'm gonna imagine they probably didn't want to give them the damn thing, but they had no choice. Like, yeah, this dude is dominating the national level. We look crazy if we don't acknowledge this hometown dude. We're like, well, you wouldn't acknowledge him the last 3 or 4 years. But
yeah,
I always look at these kind of sideways.
I want to read one more paragraph because I found this really interesting. 2 special prizes were given to people who are not eligible in other categories. Longtime jazz disc jockey Lee Kamen of KSJN FM received this year's Publishers Award, and filmmaker Chuck Statler. We should know who Chuck Statler is. Chuck Statler was recognized with the Critics Award for his pioneering work in rock videos. For those of you who don't know who Chuck Statler is, Chuck Statler was set to direct The Second Coming. And we have some of those clips of Prince and Susan and Kim Upshur. And then other recipients of 1983 Minnesota Music Awards were, I won't read all of them. J.D. Steele got Gospel Artist. And yeah, so I just wanted to recognize the Steeles and Chuck Statler. And we will see those names again. All right, I'm running out of time, but I have a lot more information. Someone said that these book clubs are forensic. I apologize. I don't know if that was a comment or not towards this, but if you go to the website and you click on the slideshow, you can get more information. So I found out about a little bit more about the Carlton Celebrity Room where the Minneapolis Music Awards were held. I won't read this entire thing, but I will say that the in 1986, the Carlton Celebrity Room, so not really, just 3 years later, went bankrupt and the building was demolished the following year. Today, the Mall of America is located just north across Kilbrew Drive from where the Carlton sat. And then also the Carlton Celebrity Room was immortalized in the 1996 Coen Brothers film Fargo when I won't say that. I won't say that. You can read it because if you click on this link, it'll take you to that article. And then I also found this really fantastic article about all the shows that were played at the Carlton. And I really wanted to point out a couple things. One, in 1979, if you look at the bottom, I have a little divot. It says James Brown and the JBs. People complain about the $2 cost to park.
Wow.
Brown showed up that Saturday at the Union Bar and played with the Lonnie Brooks Band. So that was one thing. And then another thing that I thought was interesting from this list was that Gladys Knights and the Pips made their first Twin Cities appearance at the Carlton. And then in terms of the Minnesota Music Awards, at the top of this article, it says from 1983 to 1986, the Carlton was also the location of the Minnesota Music Awards. And so Prince made 3 appearances at the Carlton. If you want to, so basically, Kim, again, let me pull it up. If you go to the bookclub.polissolid.com and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can actually see the slideshow every week. And if you click on any image in the slideshow, well, not any, but most of them, it will take you to other places. In this case, this will take you to the full article, so you can read it and all of that jazz. All right. Unfortunately, I'm going to... What did Celie say?
You're just doing some straightening.
Oh. Okay. And then there's also a video that I found. Again, I did a deep dive. I was like, oh my God, there's so much information on the Carlton. So someone on YouTube, it's just like 6 minutes, has done like a video reel of most of the performers who have performed at the Celebrity Room, if you're interested in that kind of thing. Okay, so now we're going to talk about First Avenue. We're going to go back to reading, and this is super short. And we're going to go to page 85. And I'm going to let Michael Dean read that. No, I'm going to read it. I'll let you read the next thing, which is, so we're going to be 85, First Avenue. Okay, here we go. Prince celebrated his awards by playing a brief set that included Chlorine Bacon Skin with Jaw Wobble. The original bass player for Public Image Limited, Prince supposedly grabbed Wobble's bass, licked the E string, and said, "Nice and greasy, just the way I like it." Okay.
I know that man was like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yes. All right. Okay. On to the next one.
Prince is wild. Nice and greasy.
I'm sure he said it in his old man voice too. I'm sure he did. All right. So let's go crazy. May 18th, Kiowa Trail Home. Actually, Wednesday, May 18th. On Kiowa Trail Home, Chanhassen, Minnesota. Producer Prince, engineer Don Batts. Likely. Michael Dean, do you mind taking away on page 86?
Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's get into it. So let's go crazy. This is Prince. My original draft of Let's Go Crazy was much different from the version that wound up being released. As I wrote it, Let's Go Crazy was about God and the de evolution of sin. But the problem was that religion as a subject is taboo in pop music. I would just stop for a second. It's interesting that he would, of all the things that he had no problem talking about in his songs, he's still kind of he had certain respect or whatever admiration, whatever it was that. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna tread lightly on this one. Now I'll do sister and head and all that, but I ain't gonna play around with guys. So I respect it. I respect it.
Yes.
The demo for Let's Go Crazy was recorded on this date while alone at his home studio. This early version starts with a few seconds of Prince shouting out a playful affirmation of joy that was dropped for any future versions of the track. Ooh. What followed maintained most of the elements of the song, including the opening narration over a bed of organ music, but the pacing and energy of the entire song lacks what the released version, which was recorded with the entire band, would eventually contain. Prince was concerned about the song being too similar to something written and produced by his former bass player, Andre Simone. I had a song called Let's Get Crazy with Evelyn Champagne King, and he called me and said, I got a song, Let's Go Crazy. I don't want you to think I took it from you. And that's a quote from Andre. Other than the similar titles, the songs had very little in common. Once he finished the track, it was presented to the Revolution, where they gave it additional layers of sound that made the track much more of the feel good anthem it would become. He taught it to us in rehearsal one day. Matt Fink recalled about the first time he heard the track. He taught that organ part intro to me on the Oppenheimer, and I played that live for the recording. It was a Farfisa,
Farfisa. Mhm.
Farfisa organ sound like the old garage band organ, an old style box organ, and it was very similar tonally to that. As the song was rehearsed over the summer, elements of the song would evolve, include the final minute, which was extended to feature a popular closing riff that can be found on many old blues songs, as well as on Van Halen's Ice Cream Man from their 1977 debut album. In 1997, Prince explained to Chris Rock what he originally hoped to convey when he wrote the song. Let's Go Crazy was about God and Satan, and I had to change those words up. The elevator was Satan in that song. I had to change those words up because you couldn't say God on the radio. And Let's Go Crazy was God to me. It was stay happy, stay focused, and you can beat the elevator. Status, the demo of Let's Go Crazy, 4 minutes and 2 seconds without opening vocals, 4 minutes 11 seconds with vocals, was shelved in favor of a version of the song recorded at the warehouse with the Revolution in August of 1984. The demo remains
3.
unreleased. I'm sorry, 1983. The demo remains unreleased. Why didn't they put that on the Super Deluxe of Purple Rain? Anyway, according to the handwritten lyric sheet, the song's original title was Let's Get Crazy.
All right. So, in full disclosure, I have to go catch a plane in about 12 minutes. So, I'm going to go through this with the quickness. So, my sincerest apologies. So, this is one of my favorite albums of all time. I bought this record because I knew Andre produced 4 songs on it. Also, the Silvers, if you're into your music, again, they produced several tracks on this album as well. And I highly recommend that you do your Googles, but also in the accompanying playlist on YouTube that I've started doing, you can go and listen to Andre's Let's Go Crazy with Evelyn Champagne King, who is an incredible vocalist. I really love the production because this is like when Andre was really into like heavy synths, and it was really, really fantastic. So I highly, highly recommend it. And you can see this is the B side of the album. You can see right off the bat that there are 3 songs. Actually, Andre produced the title track, Face to Face. In addition, a song called Don't It Feel Good, as well as a song called Teenager. And then the last track on the album is Let's Get Crazy. It was released in 1983 on RCA Records, as you can see. And then this is what Prince did so far. We got 52 live shows, one after show, 27 studio visits. If that might be wrong. I can't remember if I changed that right, but 21 set songs were tracked. And then, so we got 2 new songs, 1 award ceremony, 1 TV show. And I want to show this clip really quickly of Tony M. I mean, not Tony M, of Eddie M. And oh my God, and Jelly Bean Johnson. And the reason why I want to share this clip from this event is because we've been playing Madhouse a lot, and they actually did Madhouse 10 at this event. And it was just so weird not hearing Eric do it, but hearing Eddie M do it. It's really fantastic, but it was just like a bit of a cognitive dissonance. And I wanted to share this with you guys. So give me 1 second. Hopefully it'll pop on. We'll see. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. And give a special shout out to Tanya Giddings, who does Paisley, Purple Paisley Brunch, and that was a Purple Paisley Brunch. She got Jelly Bean and Eddie M to come to New York City. This is supposedly her last one. She's been doing for the past 5 years. She's had some really great events, and I just wanted to give a salute and shout out to Tanya Giddings for doing all the purple work, because it takes a village for all of us. And that was a fantastic way to go out. Also, Law performed. Yeah. I wish I had a clip, and Law was incredible. They did a tribute to Jelly Bean, all the songs he had produced over the years. So we heard some Alexander O'Neal. We heard some New Edition. It was like really, really fantastic. Also, we got to give a shout out to the one and only Michael Dean for the amazing interviews that he does with all the Purple people. And this is Michael's most recent one with Tony M. Again, if you go to the slideshow and you click on it, it'll take you there, but you should already be subscribed to Michael's channel on YouTube and also support him on Patreon. Yes, Law was on fire. Yes. Yeah. And because he just does so much. Thank you so much to Anne for letting me know. Yes, Des Dickerson did. He was at the celebration 2018. I really appreciate you. And I even got photo documentation off of Clint's Facebook, and you can see the strap around Dez's neck says Celebration 2018. I was there, but I totally don't remember Des.
I was there too. I don't remember.
Forgive us, Des. We do not know. We getting old, and our memories aren't as good as they used to be. But yes, this is confirmation. Des was there. All right. So again, in the slideshow, Big Sexy has blessed us with his Audio Snob setup. So this is the turntable he was talking about. It looks like science fiction. Pretty awesome. And then these are the headphones that he recommends. I actually do have a pair of these, but I don't have everything else he talks about. And so I'm not going to read all of this. Again, if you go to the bottom of the website, you can get all of this information. And so we're so grateful for Big Sexy for taking the time out of his busy schedule to actually type all of this up for us. And like I said, I've been doing these accompanying playlists so you can hear music that we can't play in the stream. So I actually went ahead and put up the one for this week as well. So you can listen to most of the Possessed, not all of the Possessed, particularly the VHS Possessed. You can't hear it. You're going to have to find a copy of that on your own. So next week, we will be reading pages 87 to 90. And we're going to be talking about Vibrator, G-Spot, and a little bit of Possessed. All right. Okay. So I did it. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. So my apologies. I have to jet, and I will not be with you next week. But Michael Dean is going to hold it down. So I hope that you will join Michael Dean and his crew, as well as hopefully Zach Hoskins will be joining us. I hope we will see. So thank you so much for our safe travels. And I'm literally about to pick up my bag and jet out the door. Go ahead, Michael Dean.
Work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Be safe.
Thank you. I hate flying. So yes, say all the prayers, the flying prayers.